And welcome back, everyone. Here's a question for you. How secure is your email? In the light of the David Petraeus scandal, is there anything in your inbox that could get you into big trouble? What is private? What is fair game? Joining me this morning with his thought, internet expert Dave Hatter with Libertas Technologies. Ray, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Okay, first of all, let's talk about the different types of email we have. We have email at work, and then we have our personal email. What's the difference in terms of what people can look at?
Well, with your work-related email, generally speaking, the company owns anything that you do there, and they're going to look at it if they want to.
Okay.
So, with your personal email, since it's separate, while they might be able to get a subpoena or something to look at it if you're accused of a crime, generally speaking, that's going to be your private email. It's separate, and they're not going to have access to that. So
okay.
That's a good thing.
So you should definitely have two separate emails.
You definitely should have two separate emails, if for no other reason, because for anything that you're doing on a personal basis, your employer may look unfavorably upon that. So, yeah, you should separate that out, have a Yahoo account or a Gmail account or something.
Okay, now what's protected?
Well, very little, Rob.
Very little.
And that's part of the problem. Email is inherently insecure. When it was created back in the late 60s, there was never any thought to it being used the way it is today. It's all text. So anyone that can get to an email or your email box can read anything that's in it by default. So it's naturally insecure.
And the other thing is that once you type it and you push send, you have no idea what's going to happen to that piece of mail after you push send, correct?
Yeah, Rob, that's a great point. I have a really funny story. We won't have time to go in here, but I learned a valuable lesson about this myself because I could never anticipated how an email I sent to someone would be published in a public forum.
Right.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, you have no control over it anymore.
Well, that's exactly right. If I send you an email or a text message or post something on Facebook, there's no way I can predict what you're going to do with it. There's no way I can know what you did with it until it shows up somewhere that I maybe would wish that it had not. And also, there's no way I can stop you from doing it. So that's a really excellent point. There's nothing you can do once it's sent. So you don't need to think about what you're sending and be careful.
So is that thing at the bottom of the email that often writes, it's a property of such and such or so or what have you? Does that mean anything?
Well, down the road somewhere, if you end up in some kind of legal issue and lawyers are involved, it might, but it's not going to stop me necessarily from sending your email on if that's what I want to.
So give me top 3 mistakes that you shouldn't do in terms of your email, whether it's work or private.
Well, you should have multiple email accounts, as we mentioned earlier. Keep your work separate from your private. If you don't want something to be known, this whole thing with Petraeus where they were saving drafts, thinking that no one would see them. If you put it in an electronic form, unless you are a security expert, and even then you might still ultimately be found out, you can't put it in electronic form. You just can't do it, okay? If you need to have secure email, you need to have encryption, which is difficult for most people to use. You need to hide your IP address through some kind of VPN software, something like Tor, which is a free VPN software you can download. So the biggest thing is people just don't think about how this stuff can be used by someone else. And they put stuff in there that they shouldn't put in the first place.
Okay.
And that's really about the best thing you can do is just don't do it.
Don't do it. You're not secure at all.
You're not.
You're exposed.
Exactly.
Dave Hatter, man. Merry Christmas if I don't see you before.
Thanks, Rob. You too.
All right.